week. It's a lot, you guys. There's a lot. There's so many things happening. Great conversations the professor was having, and great to hear your calls and the interviews. I don't know about you guys, but this is rough, man. The whipsaw of the stock market this week. There's tariffs. There's not tariffs. People are fired. They're unfired. They're going to close Social Security offices around the country, including, I know, one in Rockford. I believe another in Chicago. Do we need to go down the list? I think a lot of you are aware. I've told you guys before, right? I know in the past I've said, try not to react to every single thing. But man, it's hard. And it's so much harder if you are on social media. So pace yourself. And if you're watching, news nonstop or listening to it, be selective. And I'm always grateful that you're here for the conversations. If you do miss any of our conversations, you can catch them anywhere you listen to podcasts. So you can, find them on Amazon and Spotify. You can go to the Driving It Home page on the Heartland Signal website and just click on any one of our shows, me and Joan Esposito, including all of our fill-in hosts. Those shows are also available, and Richard Chu's shows. So please check those out if you happen to need to step away from the conversation and want to come back and be like, what did I miss? We're just glad you're here. And the number is, we have the lines open for this first segment. If you want to jump in, we've got comedian Paul Farahvar joining us at 5:15, and we're going to talk to our friend Reid McCollum at 5:30. And I spoke yesterday about the fact that it is Gambling Awareness Month, and we're going to have a conversation with our friends from Are You Really Winning? So I want folks to make sure you either have someone is struggling, and here's the thing, the adrenaline. I remember this with my dad, the adrenaline, the chasing, especially when my dad would lose, he would try to win it back and then lose more, and that energy can be consuming. So you might have someone in your life that is struggling, and it's always good to have that information available if you become aware of a crisis. You can go to Are You Really Winning? AreYouReallyWinning.org to find out more information, and waybackin.org. So there's also a helpline, Are You Really Winning? We'll talk more with our friends at 6 o'clock about that. I want to thank them as our new sponsor, Are You Really Winning? Again, it is March. All of March is Gambling Awareness Month, and we have conversations with our guests throughout the next few weeks to learn more. And again, I come from a place of experience, concern, a tremendous amount of compassion. I loved my father very much, and it was something that did affect our relationship. It wasn't something that destroyed our relationship, but it can go that way for folks. So please be aware and help in any way you can, or help yourself as well. I want to thank our friends from Source Solar. Go to source.solar for information about the great work that they do, and make an appointment and maybe schedule a session to find out about getting some solar panels on your house. A great way to lower your costs and help the environment. We'll talk to Peter and Warren on Monday. I hope they remember. I have to check in with them. It's one of those things you schedule a few weeks out and you're like, did I remind everybody? They'll be on the show on Monday to talk about solar energy. And we also want to thank Kirk Bankstead from Minocqua Brewing Company. We will be at the Madison Tap Room in April. So that'll be April 15th. We'll be on the road and broadcasting live from the tap room. And we want to thank our friends at Kids Above All, of course, kidsaboveall.org, and support their mission to help kids live happy, healthy, safe lives. Oh, one more thank you. Thank you to Tata's Kitchen Social and our audience that came out last night. It was a really fun show. Tyler Fowler, Abby Sanchez, Steve Goody, and our host, Paul Farahvar. It was a wonderful audience. So thank you so much for coming out for a laugh. We'll be back there next Thursday, 8 o'clock show. Dinner seating is starting at 7:30, and it's tequila and shamrocks. I wanted to see we're at a Mexican restaurant, and it's the weekend of St. Patrick's Day. So it's tequila and shamrocks with Joe Kilgallen, Jeannie Dugan, Jaime De Leon, and me. I'm Patti Vasquez, and I am Irish and Mexican, so I thought that would be fun. And I know the following week, Los Locas will be at Tata's, and then the week after that is Adam Burke. So we have every single Thursday our comedy shows at Tata's Kitchen Social, because I know we need a laugh. How about you, Dave? Do you need a laugh once in a while? Are you getting a laugh here and there?
Once in a while. Hey, also happy Eve of International Women's Day to you.
Thank you. Yes.
And to all of the women that are listening.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And I was just going to talk real briefly that I seen a story yesterday where it said that veterans are much likelier to support Trump than they did VP Harris in November's election. And according to that, it was off of an AP vote cast, a survey of American electorate conducted in all 50 states. And it says nearly 6 in 10 voters who were veterans backed Trump, while about 4 in 10 voted for Harris.
Do you think some of that comes from that authority figure, that masculinity element? There is something to the presence that not me, but there's that the people talk about this, the masculinity that he does. It's so funny that we have Gavin Newsom and Rahm Emanuel talk about to stop talking about identity politics. It's not that we talk about it, is that we react to the hostility, the dehumanization, the marginalization. We believe in human rights. So what they don't want us to do is talk about human rights. That's what they're angry about. They don't want to have empathy. They think it's toxic. It's not masculine. It's not, it's too touchy-feely. God, why are you getting me all riled up already, Dave?
Sorry. I got to thinking, too. I'll throw a name out at you, who I think they've never forgiven, was Jack Ryan.
Okay.
Because remember, he was that kinky one.
Poor Jerry. Jerry Ryan, 7 to 9 from Star Trek.
Yeah, and I don't think they've ever forgave that because of him. That gave the opening for Obama. Then later on, President Obama.
Yeah, you pull at any thread. You know me. I go nuts over the kinds of havoc and travesty, the catastrophic economies, and the impact on working families that Reagan had and his policies. Did you? I should find the article again. It's one of those things where I take a screenshot or send myself a text of an article about what would probably when the policies impacted most positively working class families. The tipping point was like 1973, when you could afford a home and a car and have a living wage and be safe and provide for your family. I'm not old. I was only 2 at the time, so I don't know.
It's possible. I always kept thinking it was the one with Gary Hart. I thought that kind of was a tipping point too.
With the way our economy was, or
economy and just about the Republicans and the Democrats and the dirty tricks and stuff.
Gotcha. Well, he was. That's the thing of hubris, right? Go ahead and follow me. See if you catch me. Yeah, that was stupid.
Well, yeah, exactly. And real quick, this one's kind of more personal for me, but it has to deal with over there too. It's also the eve of the 17th year when Back on the Beat first started. And,
with Dick McKay? With Dick K?
Yes, and and Dick, watching from heaven right now, Dick, and then Teresa Barrett, another one that's watching from heaven, who helped, used to tease, keep the USS Minnow afloat. And
there you go.
I'd like special thanks to Antonio Correa. He was part of that at the beginning, and there was then when Teresa had to leave for get another job for a while to I suppose maybe for health care or whatever, but then there was Julia Shu. She filled in for a while, doing what she does, and then Lady B came on, got handed it off, kind of like, and that, and so thanking that, and then there's a few of the couple people, a lot of them ain't with it either, that were there at day one, like this Ed from he was from the Northwest side, and then there's Rudy from Riverside, and this Joe from Schaumburg. I believe they're all gone. You never hear them no more. However, there was Earl. He's one of them. That
from
was,
Hyde Park?
Yep.
Yeah, yep. All right.
And then they also, Steve from the Gold Coast, he came in later on. And, I'm trying to think who else there was. But there was this Debbie from Westtown. She was there.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then there was this lady, Pat, from Wisconsin, is sadly no longer with us either. She hated Scott Walker, but anyway, and then the South Side, there was Ron, and then this guy, Wayne. We haven't heard these guys in a while, but they all, made a mark with me. They made me try to be better at what I, do, on the show and that, and we helped keep this thing afloat, So,
yeah.
Anyway, respect.
I love that. No, it's great. Thank you for paying tribute to all those wonderful contributors throughout the years. And, of course, Dick Kay, who make so much of this possible, not just here at WCPT, but the rights of so many people who were members of SAG-AFTRA. He was also a member of the engineering union. I think it was IBEW. So,
and he was a champion. He changed a lot of my thinking on things, too. So I miss him. I'll be honest. So anyway, let me clear off. You got other things, but I'll never forget him. As you can tell, I was bringing him up.
Well, thank you.
He made an impact.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, listen.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me blather a little bit. And have yourself a good weekend and be well.
My honor, of course. You too. Thank you for sharing your memories and honoring Dick Kay and all those wonderful people. Thank you. Bye, Dave. Before we get to our guests, we're going to talk to comedians Paul Ollinger and Paul Farahvar in a moment. But let me make sure I get to Jim before we go, because it's going to be a bit. Jim, do you want to chat now, or do you want to wait till after my conversation with? I have two guests coming up, so it'd be about.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
I'll be quick, Patty. O'Malley warns us that they're going to give a substantial cut in Social Security. He's warning the Social Security recipients to save their money. So we have to look into We have to look through a weatherproof tent. And you know the way the Homo sapiens feel about people living in tents, even the Native Americans, how they felt about them living in tents for tens of thousands of years. But that's what we're looking at. We're looking at living in a tent. And that's all.
To your point, I mean, like I was listening to somebody talk today on another outlet about how there are farmers who were getting these grants and funding through U.S. aid and other government supports, and now they're on the brink of having to sell their farms, and that's where, to your point, like the oligarchs, the massive land developers, the corporate entities that want to buy agricultural land are going to scoop in and buy them for pennies on the dollar. This is what happened during the Great Depression. People make FDR is rolling over in his grave. And who's the wonderful lady who actually taught up Social Security? Frances Perkins. Yep.
Yeah, another one rolling around in her grave. Amazing. Anyway, thanks for taking my call. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks, Jim. We're going to check in with Paul. It's Paul Squared. Two Pauls. I think their show's called Two Pauls. They're going to be at Zanies and they're going to be at Hobart, Indiana. So let's have a conversation with them. I think they're on the road. In just a moment, we'll check in on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
In Illinois, animals are being tortured illegally for fun. Horses are whipped and punched in the face. Terrified steers are beaten and shocked with electricity.
Animals with broken legs and backs receive no medical care.
Why won't political leaders stop this criminal abuse? Please visit www.steertailing.com to help Showing Animals Respect and Kindness abolish these criminal acts. And please tune in on Saturdays at 5 p.m. for Chicago Alliance for Animals If Cage Walls Could Talk.
St. Patrick's Day begins March 10th at Max and Benny's restaurant in Northbrook. Don't wait until March 17th to get your North Shore's best corned beef and cabbage. Stop in beginning March 10th for lunch or dinner. Dine in or carry out. Meals come with red potatoes and carrots. Max and Benny's has catered meal packages to take out or eat in. You can go to maxandbennys.com to check out their special St. Patrick's Day menu. And don't forget Max and Benny's special decorated cookies for St. Patrick's Day. Max and Benny's, open 7 days a week for great deli, soups, sandwiches, and dinners. Max and Benny's does catering with fish, deli, and delicious homemade dessert trays. Max and Benny's also has a special event space for over 100 people for catered events, parties, and special occasions. And Max and Benny's is your headquarters for all your Passover meals and seders. Call Max and Benny's today to reserve your space for St. Patrick's Day. 847-272-9490. That's 847-272-9490.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning We always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
Or
and Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue our drive home. Joining us on the line, it's two Pauls, one show. Well, two Pauls, one show, but three shows because I got a lot going on. You have me on speakerphone, don't you? I was going to tell you, not a great idea, Paul. Can I talk to Paul Ollinger, Paul Farahvar?
Oh.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah, well, here, no, we could fix that. I didn't know that.
I didn't know. I know. I was on my way here and I was going to text you. It's because it's like being in a club. The closer your face is to the microphone. Yes, that sounds better. Thank you. I was getting a lot of your car feedback or something. All right, both Pauls, two Pauls, one show.
Hello, how are you?
That sounds great. Excellent. Thank you for fixing that, Paul Farahvar. Paul Ollinger, you're the one I'm introducing to the audience because folks have heard enough of Paul Farahvar and his waxing and waning about the legal industry. Where are you from, Paul?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, but I live in New York City.
Oh, you do? So you're here for a whirlwind tour of Downers Grove and Hobart, Indiana, and downtown Chicago.
All the hot spots. All the hot spots.
I love it. And I believe you come from a business background. Is that right? Am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah, I went to business school 25 years ago and wanted to make more money, but then I made the mistake of telling jokes at a talent show.
Oh, God.
And from there, my career was ruined.
And how long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing it full-time for about 12 years now.
Oh, that's great. And tell me about meeting up with comedian Paul Farahvar, former attorney at law.
I think we met, former connected mob lawyer, yes. You didn't know that about him. He's in the witness protection plan, and comedy's a great way for nobody to know who you are.
Fair.
We met at the Laugh Factory. I came through town like 7 years ago, and we met at the Laugh Factory. We're like, hey, we both made terrible career decisions. We should hang out.
Fantastic. And you also host a podcast, correct? What's your podcast?
My podcast is called Reasonably Happy, and we talk about how to not be such a grumpy person all the time.
Okay.
I've had some great guests. I had Deepak Chopra on. I had Paul Schaefer on. Gretchen Rubin, who is a happiness guru recently. So I've had the privilege of talking to a lot of great people.
That's awesome. And what would you say? I mean, what sparked that for you? Because it was just noticing, was it traveling with grumpy people, being in line at the post office with grumpy, just like an amalgamation, like just a collective of all that energy?
Well, it started as a podcast called Crazy Money, but it was basically I had worked at Facebook and I was very, very fortunate, and I stumbled into a windfall. And I had all these great things happen to me, and I still was grumpy, and so I had to take a step back and decide what were the things in life I wanted, and to be grateful for those things. And so my podcast is really just an exercise to remind myself to stop being so grumpy and be grateful.
Man, now do you catch yourself now being grumpy? Like, because I was noticing today, and I saw like a meme about this. I have a lifetime of trauma, but if I have like one little thing go wrong, I lose my mind. So that's where I am. I'm generally cheerful, but man, Paul will tell you when things go sideways, I can't.
I have a full-time grumpy monitor that I sleep next to every night, and I just need to see the look in her face, and I go, I'm being a jerk, aren't I? Yeah. So yeah. But generally, it's like life's pretty good, and there's always something. Our brains have evolved to find something to be grumpy about, and you got to catch yourself, or you'll fall into a trap of always being on the lookout for negative stuff.
Now, Paul Farahvar, would you consider yourself to be grumpy? Because I think people might think that you are, because you have kind of a hangdog, sort of a mellow energy.
I think so. I think I'm a very positive person,
yes.
But I am grumpy. Yeah.
No, you're not grumpy.
I always look for
You go ahead.
No, I'm kind of like what you had a word for me. I forgot. It was like sarcastic. I'm just kind of dry and sarcastic, but I'm generally looking for silver linings in horrible situations.
Yeah, you're so Paul Ollinger and audience. Paul's gotten me through some very dark times, I'll be honest, in my life. And was very, I mean, like you have an energy that you're like, okay, I'm going to make it. It's not like, super positive, but it's also not super dark. I could see where people might think you are. And where does that come from? Like your child, do you remember sort of being like just chill about things when you were growing up?
Yeah, I think with my child, I don't know. I think when I think, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Now I can't. Where'd you go?
We're in the city, so I think we're being monitored by.
Oh boy, look out!
The president.
Sure. Well, you're on my show. You're already being monitored. It's not your phone. It's us.
Oh, that's true. We're on your show. I think it was a double whammy, and I'm Middle Eastern, so there's all kinds of things happening right now.
All those things.
No, I think, I think when I was a kid, I was very happy, but sad. I didn't know that I was sad because I didn't know, as a kid, you don't know. You know?
Oh, no. I agree with that. And
who am I talking to?
So we'll wait for the book. But you also host a podcast now called Why Are You Awake, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, because it started off being, it's called Why Are You Awake? It started off being a podcast of being a night owl, but it's turned into something about creatives, and we end up talking about people's lifestyles of people that have non-traditional, work at night, mostly comedians, sometimes, musicians and stuff like that, and just living the life of a night owl that, you used to be one too, so you know what I'm talking about.
A little bit. Now, so you mentioned something, and I hope it's okay that I'm bringing it up on the air, because as a recovering attorney, you told me last night that you actually argued in front of Justice Amy Coney, I can't say her name right, but Amy Coney Barrett. Yes.
She's my college. She went to Paul Ollinger's college, too.
Oh, wow. Notre Dame. Look at Paul. Notre Damer. All right.
No, Rhodes College. No, she's at Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, was that her undergrad, and then she went to, I thought she went to law school. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about which school she went to.
Correct.
Okay.
She went to Notre Dame for law school, I believe. But yeah, okay. I argued in front of her when she was in the Seventh Circuit. I argued in front of her twice. Once as a 3-part panel, and then I had my case went en banc, which is when all of the Seventh Circuit was present for a case, and she ruled in my favor both times.
How weird is it now?
Oh.
Yeah, right? How weird is it this week?
I need to also be clear that I was representing an insurance company that was denying coverage to a cancer person, so...
Wow.
I think that it's pretty on brand for her to rule in my favor. Sorry, but that's true. That's what I was representing an insurance company, yeah.
So what, wow. So, she ruled in your favor for the insurance company not to give them the patient cancer treatments? We have to hang up on him. Give the phone back to Paul Ollinger. Give the phone back to Paul. We're not interested anymore.
We denied coverage for I was a health company.
I don't like where this is going.
I represented a health company that denied coverage. No. But to be fair, it was in the policy. She went out of network. So, But yes, Amy ruled in favor against the cancer patient.
Oh God. Okay. Well, the reason I should have asked this before. I should have asked you last night. Oh, what was the case? And I would not have brought this up. But oh my God. But
I did tell you that last night. I mean, it's.
I didn't.
I guess that answers your question.
Yeah. No, but. But this week has been interesting because I showed you that video last night where she clearly just dropped her smile with like this discernible she threw shade is all I'm saying, and she ruled in a manner that made a bunch of people this uproar on the right that she's DEI, even though it was also Justice Roberts, which is interesting. Anyway, that was what caught my attention.
Yeah, MAGA is very upset with her for ruling against the president and ruling consistently with the Constitution. Yes, you're correct.
You're right. So you're holding the phone really close. Did you come? Are you parked now? Is that? I hope that we're not somewhere dangerous.
No, we're fine.
Okay.
No, we're in a safe.
All right.
Space.
Before you hand the phone back to Paul Ollinger, tell us about the shows that you have this weekend.
So tonight we're at Stereo by Capri in Downers Grove, It's an awesome show. 2 Paws, 1 Show. We have Jim Flanagan hosting for us. It's going to be a blast. They have great food there. Tomorrow we're in Hobart, Indiana at the Hobart Theater. Same Paul and I again. And then we're closing out our mini tour of the Midwest at Zanies in Old Town in Chicago at 7 p.m. on Sunday.
All great venues. I appreciate that. Now give the phone back to Paul Ollinger. And where do people get information about the shows?
They can go to my website, paulfcomedy.com, and I think Paul has links on his page. But you could also just go to the websites for zanies.com, Hobart Theater, and then Osterio by Capri for tonight. There's still about 7 tickets left, so you could probably walk up and get tickets or go to Eventbrite.
Nice. Excellent. Go to Eventbrite and look for 2 Pauls, 1 Show. And Paul Ollinger, where can people get information about your podcast and your upcoming shows, your schedule?
I'm on Instagram, Paul_OLLINGER. I think I need a Paul F Comedy. I should just steal Paul F Comedy. That's easier to remember.
Or Paul O Comedy. Paul O.
Oh, hey, that's better. That's even a better idea.
Well, F and O, I guess, kind of go together. That was weird. I don't know what to tell you about that. I made it weird. Anyway, you hope to get an O when you F. See what I did there? Thank you. That's my...
Oh, nice. That's very well done.
30 years in the business, I try. I
always get an O when I F, but I can't say the same for my grumpy monitor who I sleep next to.
Well,
I would never know.
If she's, it's one of those things where sometimes you just want to go to bed and you make do. Is all I'm saying. Are we done here? As long as you don't get a tap out, like, could we stop? Then you're fine. See, I feel like I got too personal, Paul.
No, that's lovely. I'm happy to be on that level with you. It's fantastic.
It's not the late night overnight show that I used to do, but it'll do at 5:30 drive time on a Friday evening. So, by the way, have you been to the Hobart Theater?
I have not. I can't wait.
It's a great venue. You both are going to have a great time. They're all great venues. You'll enjoy it, but it's a really cool town. So I hope it's nice weather tomorrow night when you come through Hobart, because it's right on this like beautiful man-made like waterfront. It's pretty cool. I know way too much about it. I'm not going to bore you with it. Go find out for yourself. But enjoy yourselves. Again, it's 2 Pauls, 1 Show. Go to Paul F Comedy for more information about the show times and tickets, and you can also find it on Eventbrite for tonight. There's still tickets available. Wish you both the best. Safe travels. I got to run because I've got another guest coming up. I got commercial. I got to pay bills. Thank you, Paul. Paul squared. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
They got 3 shows, and Paul did a show last night. It's stay busy as a comic. Let's take a break here. We'll come back with Reid McCollum, our friend who is going to tell us about what they're doing. What they're doing up in DuPage. He's the chair of the Democratic Party. More in a moment up there. I mean, not the whole party, just DuPage. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shave Marslick. Into tonight, the chance of rain and snow showers will continue before midnight under cloudy skies with a low around 28 degrees. North winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, we'll see lots of sunshine with a high near 46 degrees. West winds pick up at 5 to 15 and gusts as high as 25 miles per hour into the afternoon. Saturday night looks mostly clear at the low around 31 degrees. West winds at 5 to 15 and gusting as high as 25 miles per hour through the overnight. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 36 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter. Tom Hartman.
Autocrats generally, particularly those autocrats who have narcissistic personality disorder and are sociopaths, as is, in my opinion, Trump, typically do not tolerate high-profile people around them. They want to be the star of the show, and that's certainly been the history of Donald Trump. The only people that he will tolerate around him are people who, when he says, kiss my ass, they fall to their knees.
The Tom Hartman Radio Program, weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
When it comes to the vitamins and supplements you take, quality counts. If you have questions or concerns about the vitamins you plan on taking, we're happy to help. Mark Drugs, better health and care for you and your pets. The most common signs you need a probiotic are if you have taken an antibiotic and need to balance out the gut bacteria, you find yourself getting constantly sick, or you feel bloated, unwell, or have skin issues. We carry high-quality probiotics at our pharmacy, such as Florastore, Floragen, and what I refer to as the silver bullet, Orthobiotic, which combines multiple strains of beneficial bacteria and friendly yeast to stimulate optimal gut flora. Get to know your pharmacist. Caring for you, your family, and your overall well-being is what our pharmacists at Mark Drugs stand for. You have a choice when it comes to your health care, and a great choice is Mark Drugs in Roselle and Deerfield, where you get better health and care for you and your pets. Check out markdrugs.com for the pet of the month.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversey Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
We are driving it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Friday evening. Got a little bit of snow today, but it seems like it's all melting. So as long as it doesn't stick, we get to hopefully move a little bit closer to springtime. And there's a lot of activity going on. A lot of organizations that we've been talking to, Democratic Party headquarters and offices throughout the area. We've been up in Wisconsin, door knocking for Judge Susan Crawford. And I know the folks in DuPage County got some municipal races coming up too. We're talking to the chair of the DuPage, the chair of the Democratic Party of DuPage, Reid McCollum. Hi, Reid. Happy Friday. Are you staying hydrated?
Well, good question. Maybe not, but
yeah, I'm reminded.
This early on a Friday, it's only going to go downhill in terms of the hydration later.
I'm saying I can't ask people how they're doing anymore because I feel like I'm forcing them to lie if they say that they're doing good or great, and if they are being honest about being great, I can't with that. How are you doing?
Well, I'm an internal optimist, but I also sort of, for perspective, just think about how it all ends in, the destruction of the universe eventually. So that is my perspective.
Okay, yeah, and how are people that you're working with, the volunteers? I'm trying to be optimistic too. I'm trying to, do the work and all those things. But how is everybody else that's coming into the office? Are you getting more volunteers? What's the energy like?
That's good grounded optimism because we really are seeing many new volunteers that are showing up, signing up for the Democratic organizations, resistance groups, looking to turn their anger into action in any way possible. And it's felt over the last few weeks is similar to 2017 as really anything.
Ooh. Okay. In the sense, the energy, people showing up, wanting to get the roller sleeves up, right?
Yeah, no, people are looking for stuff to do, and which was interesting for me because I started getting involved 8 years ago, right after Trump won the first time, and first thing I did was show up at a county Democratic organization, and then we all decided we were going to, flip a congressional district, and it's more challenging this time because we got rid of all the Republicans in Congress and sort of the suburbs out here, especially in DuPage County. And now I'm the county chair, but we're really focusing on sort of what is still held by conservatives and Republicans, and that is really our local offices, because in these spring elections, we have them coming up on April 1st, turnout has skewed more conservative. It's older Republicans that vote, and so a lot of our township offices and local government are still held by people who aren't doing as good of a job as progressive values-aligned candidates or Democrats. And so this is sort of our opportunity coming up in just a few weeks to really strengthen our first line of defense in local communities. And I think people forget that their local government is really the most relevant part of government that impacts many people's lives, including the vulnerable people in our communities.
What kind of conversations are you having in regards to the messaging? Because I did not like the last few days what I'm seeing, this idea that, well, maybe we need to move away from basically human rights, right? I don't understand the idea of throwing, marginalized people under the bus. This idea that we're talking too much about bathrooms and things like that. I feel like we only talk about it in defense of human rights, and I can't back away from that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I couldn't agree more. First of all, I think actual elected members of the Senate and Congress voted 3 days ago now. Every single one of them voted to support our trans allies, and I think that our trans community, and I think that those social media narratives can become pretty distracting. And I'm not going to say that they're only on social media, but those aren't conversations that people are having out here on the ground. It's much more about, should we spend our time going to protests? How do I help support local candidates? How do we turn our anger into action? What are we going to do if Donald Trump doesn't obey a Supreme Court order? All that kind of stuff.
Yes. What are we going to? Well, and that's the other thing, right? So there's a sense of whether it's Gavin Newsom or Rahm Emanuel showing up on shows to, tell Dems what they should be doing instead of actually doing the things that will move the ball across the field, which is lead, yeah. Right? And I think that's what people are hungering for right now. A lot of folks thought that ping pong paddles protest isn't quite the thing, but it really is in the communities. It is getting those school board elections, those library board elections, right? So tell us about some of those races that are happening in DuPage County.
Well, no matter where you live in DuPage County, there are really important races, in part because everybody in DuPage lives in what is called a township, and that is the local level of government where they handle, Meals on Wheels, senior services, mental health, things that are really, really important right now. Most of our townships have just all Republicans or many Republicans, and so no matter where you live, you can help get Democratic township folks elected for that. There are important races for local government in places like Naperville, Glendale Heights, Downers Grove, Lombard, even libraries. There's in Lombard, the library is called Helen Plum Library District, and there's a slate of Christian nationalists running for library. And that is one of the scariest combinations of words is Christian nationalist to me. And so, if you live in that area, it's really important. It's the school boards. There are some really contentious school board races that impact, what the policy is if ICE shows up at a school out here. So couldn't be more important for people to get plugged in and make sure that they vote in the April 1st election. And if they have kids and then they're going to be out of town for spring break, early voting starts on March 17th.
That's okay. So St. Patrick's Day is the first day folks can start voting, and I know that I love door knocking. That's not for everybody. What are some of the ways that folks can get involved? Because is there any remote phone banking that might be available for folks who want to volunteer that way?
Yeah, we will be doing virtual phone banking. People will be able to get information about those on our website or by joining our newsletter. We also are about 2/3 of the way through handwritten postcards that we have for folks that are willing to write postcards to encourage strong Democrats to make sure that they know to get out and vote on April 1st. So if people are able to provide their own stamps, they can go on our website and sign up to help write postcards. Not really for the April 1st elections, but these protests that are happening downtown, we have them also out in DuPage. People have been standing outside of Tesla dealerships, and that is really useful because it starts to break through. And again, we might end up in a place in a month or two where we're really focused on mass mobilization to respond to Donald Trump.
And what's the best place for folks to go again to get involved, to volunteer? If they can't volunteer, maybe remotely donate. Make sure that keep the lights on, keep our volunteers, hydrated and fed, and get the lit out there. All those things.
Yeah. So DuPageDemocrats.com is our website, and a lot of people don't really understand. We just had our big annual fundraising gala, and it was great, but people don't really understand that for DuPage County, we're the second most populous county in the state, almost 1 million people. We have one part-time employee. Like, I'm a volunteer. It's all volunteers and our fabulous part-time executive directors. So, we are volunteer-driven. So, both in terms of donations, so we can do good work to support the candidates. We're actually doing more than we've ever done before for these April elections. We're going to send over 700,000 text messages to help get out the vote. And in addition to those postcards, we've been doing a lot of candidate trainings. And, that is exactly the kind of grassroots energy and the grassroots work that helps let folks know in the community who have busy lives the importance of these elections coming up.
Well, I know that it's a minor donation, but I know that when there was a delivery made to the Bobby's Liquors next door to the DuPage Dems headquarters at 885 East Geneva Road in Carroll Stream, they now we dropped off maybe some gifts fell off the truck is all I'm saying. A couple 2-tree cans, courtesy of our delivery people, and including, by the way, the Joint Sessions THC Orange Cooler. By the way, that's now available at some of the locations in the Chicagoland area. If that's not your thing, there's also the Lady Justice Weiss beer and other products for your enjoyment, my friend.
Yeah, no, that's fabulous.
Just trying to help you stay hydrated. That's all.
That's true. I'm here tonight.
Yeah, I'm just saying. How do you manage all the news? By the way, because I mean, notwithstanding, but I try to not react to everything. Is that what you're finding to be one of your, coping mechanisms?
I don't react to it. I mean, the thing that I'm kind of fixated right now is everybody's sort of obsessed with this idea that our policymakers in the party that has no power right now are supposed to be the people leading us. And, it would be great. But what I've been reinforcing for the last few days and weeks is that it's going to take a mass movement to fight back against Trump. It is every single one of us. And, if you really get into the details, Democrats know what to say. But the challenge we faced, and this was true last year, is that the real persuasive messages are messages that don't tend to go viral. They don't get the airtime. The media doesn't cover them. We don't control the means of communication. So in that environment, our only megaphone that allows us to really communicate what is persuasive is sort of the volunteers, if that makes sense. So anything that an elected Democrat says that is likely to get traction is not the kind of thing that actually persuades the voters that we need to talk to. And, the next national election's in a year and a half. So we have a lot of time to just build a movement that can really, be the force that we need to fight back against what Trump's doing.
Well, I want to tell you, I was down in New Orleans, and I was talking to somebody who lived in DuPage County for a while, and he was like, yeah, it was super red. So I told him it's not that way anymore. So you guys have done a tremendous amount of work, and we're here to support you in any way we can, my friend.
Appreciate it. No, yeah, and it's great that you're going up knocking doors in Wisconsin. People should do that too. I mean, Susan Crawford, that is probably the most important election happening nationally this year. And we can walk and chew gum at the same time too. So keep that up. I got
to get out to your neck of the woods as well, because I know I have a friend running for one of the library boards. Our friend Kim Geezer is also running for a library board.
Yep. Kim is great.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah,
we got to keep good folks on these libraries for sure.
Yeah, that's not the one with the Christian nationalists that she's running in, is she?
It's not, fortunately for Kim. So yeah, that's the Lombard one with those folks.
Well, folks, again, remind everybody the website so they can get engaged and informed.
Yeah, DuPageDemocrats.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can order some postcards. You can hear about different ways that you can get involved. We'll be doing virtual phone banks starting up around the start of early voting in about a couple weeks. And we're hard at work in DuPage.
Absolutely. We'll pace yourself, and we look forward to touching base with you again. If anything comes up that you want to update and make sure people are informed about, please do not hesitate to reach out. We will get the message out and have another conversation.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thanks so much, Patti.
Talk to you soon.
Stay hydrated.
You too, my friend. Take care. Bye. Let's take a break here. The phone lines are open, 773-763-9278. Again, that number is 773-763-9278. And coming up in a little bit, we're going to talk to our friend Anita Pinduir, who is the executive director of The Way Back In and the new sponsor of Are You Really Winning? More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
There are a lot of things you can do to live a longer, healthier, happier life. Some of them, like eating better, getting more sleep, more exercise, I know they can be tough. Others, like practicing gratitude, not so much. Before you write this off as some nutty, crunchy suggestion, you should know that finding ways to be thankful each and every day doesn't just feel good. It is good for your health. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this is with a gratitude journal. All you got to do is open it up, jot down a few things that make you smile. Another option is something called Roses, Thorns, and Buds. This one works really well over a family dinner. What you do is you go around the table and you each say one positive thing and one negative thing about your day. And then you also say one thing that you're looking forward to. It's going to make you feel good. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Spring is finally here, and so are spring projects. So get them started at Harbor Freight's parking lot sale. Happening now. Save on products like pressure washers for $69.99, 42-inch roller cabinets for under $500, plus 30% off Hercules corded power tools. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until 3/9/25 while supplies last. Limitations apply, so spring in before it's over.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and we're proud to welcome a new sponsor to the Drive It Home family. Why am I saying my own name on my show wrong? Drive It Home. Driving It Home family. Are you really winning? Gambling is common in Illinois, with many people taking their chances on the lottery, video game rooms, casinos, or online sports betting. When you find yourself battling and thinking about gambling all the time, when you lose more than you win, and when gambling is affecting your job, relationships, and more, are you really winning? We are here to help you because you are not alone. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit areyoureallywinning.com today.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
Coming up after the news, we will be talking to Anita Pinduir, who is the executive director of Way Back In and our new sponsor here for Are You Really Winning? Now, I feel bad, Naomi. I did not see I didn't see the call was up while I was on the phone with Paul. And Paul, how are you doing? Out of Santa Monica, no less. How are you doing tonight? I mean, are you hydrating?
Great, thank you. Yeah, I'm hydrating. I'm grabbing my bottle of water right now.
Me too. Grab my big cup. Yep.
Okay, good. We'll drink together. Let's have a drink.
There you go.
Okay, I had an idea, Patti, and I was listening to the lawyer.
Uh-huh.
Those two calls were awesome. You handled them really well, too.
Oh, thank you. Well, it helps to know Paul for Paul has really been there for some dark moments in my life. So I am truly grateful to him and trust anybody he brings in as a friend.
Is he the one who's the non-lawyer, your friend of Paul? The Paul, the non-lawyer, or the lawyer?
The lawyer. The lawyer is my friend.
Okay. Well, I have something I was thinking, and it's a strategy, and of course I don't know what the legalities are, but okay, so this is what I was thinking. I have Social Security. I'm on Social Security, and I'm on Medicare. So I'm an elder. And isn't this elder abuse when you threaten to take away my Social Security and my Medicare? Would you consider that elder abuse?
I would say it's psychological damage, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think, yeah. So I'm thinking if somebody like the ACLU or somebody had an idea, like to propose to the ACLU, maybe, I'm not sure how to do it, but to file a federal suit, a class action federal suit, and as many people as possible get on it, and in federal court for a restraining order to prevent them from getting their grubby little hands on our
You know
stuff.
what? I will either have Paul look into that, or I might look into that as well, because during the day, part of my job is working on issues like Medicare and Medicaid. So I will find out if anyone's working on an injunction to or a restraining order to make sure that the funding does not get withheld, because a lot of groups are doing that kind of work. Not just funds.
Patty, not just
the Medicare.
Not just the funds. Not just the funds, though, for both Medicare, Social Security, and hopefully Medicaid. But anyway, for those two programs, at least they should not. They should keep their dirty hands off of the staff too, because when you remove staffing, we can't get help.
Yeah.
If we can't get access by phone, that's also elder abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, they're taking away our benefits that we paid for.
Yeah, exactly. You paid in for their due.
Yeah, and by the way, even though Medicare and Social Security are the programs that we directly pay into, the others are ours too, because via taxes. Even though we didn't pay into them directly, we're paying for them indirectly with our taxes. So they're all our programs, all of ours, right?
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It was created as a safety net to make sure that those who are profiting so mightily from our economy and those of us who have worked and toiled aren't left out of being able to survive in society. Yeah. It's necessary, folks. I don't have to tell you. And there's the amount of waste, fraud, and abuse pales in comparison to the amount of money that's subsidizing the lives of the uber wealthy. There's no getting around it. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. And I will ask Paul, I promise.
Yeah, and also I think we should think of including elder VA veterans into that.
Yeah,
class,
I agree.
You know,
elder. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good class action.
Thank you. I'm excited now.
All right. Thank you, Naomi. I'll get on it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Yeah. I'm hydrating. It's seltzer water. I got some Note seltzer. Thank you. Right. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. I know Brian McHugh, who is on Facebook and also, I think, texting us, asks, are we headed toward a police state? Is the Republican administration trying to provoke violence? Illegally getting rid of the inspector generals, JAG Corps attorneys, installing the JAG Corps attorneys are gone, installing loyalists, stealing legally appropriated funds, illegal tariffs, stopping Social Security payments, trying to gouge or scoop out as much money as possible out of Medicaid and Medicare, because they're demanding $880 billion be cut out of the budget. And the only place you can get that from, the only place in the budget that there's room to take anything from, that they are willing to attack, is our Medicare and Medicaid. So it's one of the... Oh, Roosevelt's on the line. Sorry, Roosevelt. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, how you doing, Patty?
Hey, I'm hydrating. Go ahead, my friend.
Hey, listen, I'm going to follow up on what you just said. It's $400 million that he's cutting from Colombia. He's, in my opinion, see what you think. I want to see what your take is on this. He's daring the students to come out and protest.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Right.
In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So he could declare martial law. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
He's squeezing them from all sides.
I agree.
He's squeezing them from all sides because he doesn't want. He does and he doesn't. And if it does happen, in other words, he's in a no-lose situation, because if they come out, he's going to declare martial law. And if they don't come out, well, he already cut them $400 million. And not to mention all the other grants. And what you guys were talking about as far as social and Medicare, Medicaid. And I don't understand this take on Russia, this latest thing that he's pulling with, I believe it was sanctions or something against Russia.
Yeah. Now, I don't buy that for a second. He's getting tired of seeing all the memes of him sitting on Putin's shoulders like a little boy, and there's one with Elon Musk and Putin rocking a cradle back and forth, and it's Trump in the cradle. They're co-parenting. I think that maybe it started to get to him, or someone told him it was a tactic to sort of counter all that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Hey, Hey, Patty, speaking of that, you just gave me a bad a bad image.
I know.
From his first presidency, I believe somewhere in Europe, there's a wall where he's French kissing Putin.
Yep.
Did you ever see that one?
I have. And on that note, we have to go to the break. Thanks, Roosevelt. Putin and Trump sitting in a tree. KISSING. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Feeling overwhelmed, kind of like, hey, I can't remember how to relax. Well, you're not alone. Illness, accidents, sheer stress can cause everything from headaches to feeling constantly on edge. If this is you, give Michelle Beaubier at Resource Wellness in Wilmette a call. Michelle is a biodynamic craniosacral therapist. She also teaches Qigong, a form of moving meditation. She helps people with post-surgical problems, concussions, migraines, insomnia, the effects of trauma, and more. Michelle helps her clients balance their nervous systems and achieve deep rest that can lead to profound change. As a PTSD survivor herself, she gets it, and she loves helping people back into balance. As one client said, Michelle has been my reset button. So if you need a reset, call Michelle at 773-991-4357 or check her website, resourcewellnessllc.com. 773-991-4357, resourcewellnessllc.com.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Investigators in New Mexico say they've determined how Gene Hackman and his wife died. Donna Warder has the story.
Dr. Heather Jarrell is New Mexico's chief medical examiner.
The cause of death for Mr. Gene Hackman, aged 95 years, is hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, with Alzheimer's disease as a significant contributory factor. The cause of death for Miss Betsy Hackman, aged 65 years, is hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. The manner of death is natural.
Investigators say Hackman died a full week after his wife, but may not have been aware of his wife's death because of his Alzheimer's. The couple's bodies were discovered February 26th in their New Mexico home. One of the couple's dogs also was found dead in a crate in a bathroom. A veterinarian says a necropsy will be done on the dog. I'm Donna Warder.
A South Carolina man's been executed by firing squad. Brad Sigmund, the first U.S. prisoner killed by the method in 15 years. And fighters siding with Syria's new government stormed several villages near the country's coast, killing dozens of men in response to recent attacks on government security forces. Charles de la Desma has more.
The clashes are the worst since Bashar Assad was removed from power in early December by insurgent groups led by the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Friday morning, large numbers of troops were deployed in Latakia, and no civilians were on the streets because of a curfew. Armed security force personnel on the back of vehicles drive fast between Homs and Tartus. A war monitor saying the outskirts of the coastal towns of Banias and Jabla are still under the control of Assad loyalists, and many Alawite villages nearby are also outside government control. I'm Charles de la Desma.
This is AP News. The February jobs report shows employers added a solid 151,000, up from 125,000 in January. The unemployment rate ticked up to 4.1%. And Lisa Dwyer has a story from Maine on a controversy over Social Security numbers.
As the Trump administration works to close Social Security field offices, the acting head of the Social Security Administration has rescinded and apologized for an order that would have required Maine parents to register their newborns for Social Security numbers at a federal office rather than at the hospital. The order drew widespread condemnation from medical organizations and public officials who described it as unnecessary and punitive. The practice of allowing parents to register a newborn for a Social Security number at a hospital or other birthing site, called the Enumeration at Birth program, has been common for decades. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shave Marslick. Into tonight, the chance of rain and snow showers will continue before midnight under cloudy skies with a low around 28 degrees, north winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, we'll see lots of sunshine with a high near 46 degrees. West winds pick up at 5 to 15 and gusts as high as 25 miles per hour into the afternoon. Saturday night looks mostly clear at the low around 31 degrees. West winds at 5 to 15 and gusting as high as 25 miles per hour through the overnight. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 36 degrees.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. That's 800-708-3091.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we want to welcome our friends listening in the evenings on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We are broadcasting here out of Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, and don't forget, if you start hearing a little bit of crackle on your radios, and it's going to go soon we're going to have longer days, so you won't have that. The sun's going to be up longer. You'll be able to hear us on your terrestrial radios in your kitchen, in your car, but right now it might be easier to listen on the TuneIn app. You can also watch us live on the Facebook, on Facebook and YouTube. I meant the Facebook app, but you know what I meant. And we love that you are joining the conversation. We want to thank our sponsors, Minocqua Brewing Company. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com and support the work that they're doing, and subscribe to the newsletter, because this Monday I will have an essay up on resistance. That's for Mocha Mondays, and that's again registering at the MinocquaBrewingCompany.com website. Speaking of which, Substack on Tuesday I will be dropping my very first excerpt from my chapter of Chicago Girl, telling the story about my family, which we'll kind of talk about in a moment as well. We also want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar to learn about the great work that they do. We're going to have Peter and Warren in studio on Monday to talk about solar panels on your house. Over 100,000 happy customers. And Peter is somebody who's been doing this for a long time. He started out just working in solar panels and construction as a job, and it became a career, and now it's turned into a passion. So we look forward to having a conversation with him. So give him a call and visit source.solar for more information. And we want to thank our friends at Kids Above All. Go to kidsaboveall.org for more information about the great work they do helping children live happy, healthy, safe lives. And I'm so excited to have in studio our friends from Are You Really Winning? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit areyourreallywinning.com. And we're going to talk about that right now. Joining us in studio is Anita Pinduir, Executive Director, correct, at Are You Really Winning?
Yeah, at the Way Back In.
At the Way Back In. Thank you for joining us in studio today. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's so funny. Sometimes I wish I could record conversations before we go on the air, because we're talking about our families and about our kids. And I was sharing with you a little bit of kind of almost generational experience. First of all, remind folks, I know we had you on last year.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up, my friend?
Oh, well, I grew up in Poland and then mainly here in Chicago. So I've spent the last 35 years here in Chicago on the Northwest side.
How old were you when you came to Chicago?
Almost 11.
Almost 11. So where'd you go to high school?
Main East in Park Ridge.
In Park Ridge. It's a great school. I love that. So tell me, when you were in high school, what did you set out? What did you have in mind? What did you? Because I wanted to be an Air Force pilot or a fashion designer.
Those are very
wildly
great
different.
choices. I
Exactly.
love those choices. I grew up in a very medical family, so I was supposed to be a doctor. And I changed my mind somewhere between undergrad and graduate school to pursue a career in clinical psychology, which is not really stepping that far away. It was fairly close. I just wanted to be a little bit more closer to the clients, really working with people. Right after I finished undergrad, I was around 20, and I started working with a private company who specialized in DUIs, but also in domestic violence. And so I predominantly worked with a man who battered, and so the perpetrators of domestic violence who were all Polish-speaking. And that was kind of my beginning into it, and I really enjoyed the clinical work, and I really wanted to work more in clinical than, kind of just write prescriptions or be in a hospital. So I kind of stepped into that and then joined the way back in like 2002. I've been there ever since.
Oh, my goodness. So you have worked with a lot of folks who maybe, so I just worked with an organization. We collaborate with Empowering Women and another organization that works with survivors of domestic violence. And I think, there's a lot of conversation these days about masculinity and what it means to, sort of have this position of manliness. Is that sort of all what might be an element of the work that you're continuing to do when it comes to addiction and gambling?
It very much is. And, things have changed and things have kind of moved on. But those conversations about what it means to be human and then what it means to be man and male and how do you identify yourself, especially throughout your process and your recovery journey, is very important. And we see many people kind of starting to identify those moments of what was my childhood like? What was my upbringing? What were some of these social and family determinants of, what it means to be male and who do I want to be today and how do I want to identify my recovery? And that's really important because, sometimes it is seen so much with gambling use disorders or alcohol use disorders. We see so much use in often, it spans throughout everyone, right? Any gender, any sexual orientation. But we do see a lot with males of that bonding happens over substances and gambling. Of that nurturing, of the hanging out happens over these kind of activities. And so as people are exploring healthier life choices or recovery, that is a big one that I need to explore.
You bring up so many memories for me because when you talk about that, hanging out, bonding, because growing up, my father would play poker games and I would sit on his lap and be excited. And there's cigarettes and there's booze and like the guys are hanging, and I'm learning how to play. And it was like playing card, like playing gin rummy for me or playing poker with my dad was a way for me to, and maybe he took me to the racetrack a lot. Right. And so but it's not just my dad. I learned when he passed away that when he was a child during the Great Depression, he would make money for the family by selling newspapers, and his mother would go to the racetracks or she would gamble that money away. And it does have something to do with the way you sort of like make it festive and your kids are here and like, hey, pick a number, pick a horse. We don't think of that.
We don't, right? And we make it both fun and exciting, and we're teaching kind of kids, and we need to remember that there definitely is brain development. And we do know that our brains are not fully developed till about 25.
I'm still working on it.
Some of us, yes.
And we can choose to keep developing.
Right. Well, let's say around 25.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But then that's when we know that people are starting to respond differently. And we do know that correlation between kind of any use of alcohol or gambling and money being kind of exchanged does alter kind of the brain patterns. And so a lot of the teaching really for younger generations is to make sure that they know that money shouldn't be tied up to it, right? So gambling is really fun, and for many people it can be fun and exciting. Some people are ill and they do have a disorder, and so it won't be fun for them. But it can never be seen as a way to make money. And I think you're right. A lot of people look at it, and it's very normal.
Yeah.
And it's very socially acceptable, and it's not anything wrong with it. It's not like they're a bad human being. But we look at it like, well, if I have $5, but I buy this lotto ticket, I potentially could have $5 million. And that fantasy and that hope leads us to kind of invest further and further into it without any actual outcomes.
That's interesting you say that, because I think it wasn't until later in my dad's life that he kind of, because and I'm very similar, like as far as having sort of a cobbled together professions, right? So my dad was a tuck pointer, he was a cab driver, so sort of professions that he could kind of create his, not create his own work, but didn't have a 9-to-5. And it wasn't until later in life that he got a job at Home Depot and he loved it. Right. And it was, but that was almost like too solid for him. He liked the excitement of it's almost like gambling.
Yeah, we do, right? Well, we
the
do
adrenaline, right.
The adrenaline rush, the dopamine rush, and we all feel it. People sometimes say oh, people don't understand or don't get it. No, we all do, right? That rush of potentially winning, and usually it's that moment right before that's really the most exciting part, right? Like after you win, you're like, okay, well, it's done. And when you lose, you still have that moment of excitement because something has happened. So we know that those rushes of, those brain patterns and the dopamine and the serotonin are really important. And we do need that. We do need this rush in our lives. It's just some people just don't know how to walk away. Again, not because there's anything wrong with them. It's a brain chemistry issue. And you can't just be like, well, just walk away, right? It's like, well, that's easier said than done.
Yeah. Yes. And I think that I remember when my dad was, my dad was, he was up to 4 packs of Camels a day, non-filtered. He quit drinking when I was about 18, so I can't remember how old. He would have been 50 when he stopped drinking. The gambling was up until, really it was nearly catastrophic for our family. So I don't know. And I also want to tell family members, because I think some people get really angry and want to cut them off. I look back, I don't carry guilt, because I knew that it was more than I, at my age could even manage for him. But if I were in a position, like, what would you tell a daughter in her 20s or somebody in their 30s or any family member? Because people get very defensive.
People do. People get very defensive. People are very often in denial, because it is such a large social thing. It takes us a minute to really see it and say like, oh, wait a second, maybe I should take a look at this. So we really recommend for families to take a step back, take a breath and be like, how can I help you, right?
Right.
And it doesn't always have to be, not everybody's going to stop. I mean, at the way back in, we kind of encourage full abstinence, and we definitely work with full abstinence, but that might not be the journey for everyone. And so sometimes we just want to ask, how can I help you? And having resources is very helpful, right? So even if that person might not tell you in that moment, or they might not be ready to open, they might need those resources. So we do encourage everybody to know and be aware of 1-800-GAMBLER. It is a hotline that's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's open in multiple languages. So, people can call. And even if you share that, let's say you're 20, you're sharing with your dad and saying, Dad, I'm noticing some stuff going on here. I don't know what's going on. I don't like it. But here's a phone number. So if you ever feel like you need help, please give this number a call. And it can lead to, Gamblers Anonymous meetings that they have available, treatment options that are available, some financial counseling that's available through some of the treatment agencies. So we do know there's a lot of options, and we want people to be aware of it.
Outstanding. I love that you do wraparound services. I think is the best way to think of that, right?
Yeah. Just making sure. And sometimes we will even do some therapy with the families. So if a family identifies a person as somebody who has a gambling use disorder, we have a family group at the way back in. Other agencies throughout Illinois also have some family support that can be there. Sometimes it's just a conversation of like, how do I help them? And it is a difficult system, right? Usually you don't approach someone, you're like, hey, I think you have a problem. They're like, I do.
If only. If that happens, congratulations.
Yes. In
You
my
win.
But
You took a gamble and you won.
Right.
Awesome.
You really are winning.
Yeah.
But usually there is some denial, there is some pushback. People get more aggravated than not.
Mm-hmm.
They might begin hiding it better, right? They might have been doing it more openly, and now they kind of feel like they need to hide it. But it's being there and it's being supportive and saying, I'm here for you and I want to be here for you, not that like you're a horrible human being and you should stop doing this, right? So how do I support you?
I love that. We were talking to Anita Pinduir, and the executive director of Are You Really Winning and the Way Back In. And well, the campaign is Are You Really Winning?
Yes.
And the organization is The Way Back In. And I want to tell folks, I'm having this conversation not only because you're so gracious to be sponsoring our show and collaborating with us. I'm speaking to you as a daughter who I wish I had access to these tools, these resources. My father passed away 1 year before you started working for The Way Back The Way Back In. So we'll talk more about that when we come back, because I do have so many more questions about the financial assistance, but also that urgency that you talked about hiding it. So let's talk about that when we come back in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. Today, I've got a couple reminders for you about minimum payments and credit cards. Right, get ready. I'm going to say two different things, both of which I bet sound familiar. Thing number one, never pay less than the minimum payment on your credit card. For some of us, there are months where that might not be possible. And if you're in that camp, I'm so sorry. I want to encourage you to set yourself a goal of never ever paying less than the minimum. And thing number two is always pay more than the minimum payment. Just paying minimums month in and month out won't get you very far. Your total amount that you owe, the principal, is barely going to budge. Ideally, you're only using your credit card if you could pay off the whole balance every month. When that's not possible, try paying more than the minimum, but never less. For more reminders and money tips, head over to workmoney.org. Till next time, this is Carrie Joy saying, take good care.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga. My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Ever tried balancing a dozen eggs in one hand while hopping on one foot? Or maybe juggling cats while riding the unicycle? Sounds ridiculous, right? But guess what? That's exactly what texting while driving is like. Your human brain only has the capacity to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're behind the wheel, give driving your undivided attention.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. And hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're broadcasting here in Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And joining us in studio is the executive director of the Way Back In, Anita Pinduir, who is also our new sponsor here with the Are You Really Winning campaign. And March is Gambling Awareness Month. Yep. I think that people probably just kind of walk by a sign or see something online and I'm like, that doesn't apply to me. That's pretty common.
That's pretty common, right? I think many of us have it. But, one of the reasons this campaign started, and it was really kind of that progressive thought pattern of the governor and the state of Illinois and saying we need to be a gambling-informed state. And gambling-informed means that you need to know not just where the venues are and what you can do for entertainment, but also what help and services are available and just that awareness. So we have, campaign in the last 3 years, making sure that there's billboards, there's activation at events, there's radio, TV, just so people are aware of the fact that we are a gambling-informed state, and if there's anything that you need along the spectrum, it is available, including help, including resources, and financial counseling as well.
And you mentioned that there's also like you said, for family counseling. Because when I went to one session of Teen Al-Anon when I was like 15 or 16, because my dad was an alcoholic, and when he stopped drinking, the gambling became much more aggressive, and to the point where I was 22 years old and he was severely in debt. Like he borrowed. I didn't have $2,000. He asked me to take out a credit card and charge $2,000 and get cash to give to him. But then he also went and took out other credit cards in my name, which then I had to fight for a year. And look, I think he was just so desperate because he was chasing the losses he had.
Yeah, there's a lot of chasing of losses, and with gambling use disorder and with persons who have gambling use disorder issues, we often see that happens, right? There's embezzling, there's kind of credit cards taken out. Truly, they don't think that they're stealing or doing anything wrong. They really, really feel that they will pay you back. So every intention is to actually make this right? Whatever money I took out of somebody's account or whatever credit card I might have taken out in their name, I am going to repay this and I am going to make this right, because that next one is going to be the win. And it really is a true feeling. It's not that they're just lying to you or to themselves. It is a true belief that, I'm going to make this correct. So the intention is never to steal or to take something from someone. It really is in that fantasy and that hope that I will win.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I kind of tied it together where my father had addictive, I don't know how you would say that, because we talked about dopamine, and there are some people who don't create enough dopamine and that excitement of that cigarette, of that drink, of that horse race.
Right. It's the release. And sometimes when it's that release of the dopamine, it really kind of gets in your brain, and it's that high. And when that high stays high too long, you really can't live without it in a way. And it's just brains are, the chemistry is a little different in certain people, just like when we see with depression or with anxiety or even other health diseases, right? So we see that, chemistry is just different in certain people, and they're processing the information differently. So many of us in the state of Illinois, we did a prevalence study in 2020. It is shown that about 90% of people can gamble, and it's just fun for them, and they are going to walk in and they're going to say, I'm going to spend $100. They'll probably spend like $150, but they still walk away. And for about 3.8% of people, there is a gambling use disorder, and about 7% of people are at high risk, meaning that we do know that, potentially gambling or that big win can really trigger them from going to just maybe over gambling or overusing to really significantly having a gambling use disorder. And we would like to make sure that everybody's protected and everybody's safe. but it is definitely those populations that we want to focus on and make sure that they know that help is available.
Is there a way to, start to, for folks who are sort of like, oh, that's not me. And so I want to ask those folks to just be start with mindfulness. Is that something that we can ask folks? Just like, hey, next time you pick up your phone and start playing, online betting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is what the month is for, right?
Right.
Prom Gambling Awareness Month in March, we do want to make sure that you are paying attention and you're paying attention to yourself and how does it make me feel and what am I doing this for? Because again, some people can gamble and they can say like, nope, this feels great. I love it. I have the money. I have the time. This is what I want to be doing. Cool. But when you're looking at it and you're saying, I'm not enjoying this anymore, but I feel like I have to, that's when we want to take a look at it. Or when you're looking at it and saying, I don't have the money to do this and I'm risking perhaps being evicted from my home, then that's when we want to take a look at this. And there was a fairly easy survey designed. So it is on the areyoureallywinning.com website. You can go and take a screener, and we encourage everybody. March 11, so Tuesday, March 11 is National Screener Day. So if people could take it that day, and it starts very simply with one question: have you gambled 5 or more times in the last year? And then, if it's no, then you know, and you're like, all right, I'm okay, right? But then as you answer more questions, it takes you a little deeper into understanding where you've been, what you have done, and is it a problem or not? And then it links you to some information with resources.
I'm so grateful for this conversation. And again, I don't have guilt. I have more wish, right? That I wish that we had these resources when I was younger for my father. And to give folks perspective, if when you say almost 7% are at high risk and more than 3% are in it.
Yes.
That's almost 1.3 million people in the state of Illinois, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's 1.3 million people. I suspect it's somebody that you know in your community, in your family, in your neighborhood. So please consider visiting the website. Let me remind folks.
areyoureallywinning.com
and 1-800-GAMBLER.
And 1-800-GAMBLER. If you type that into the search engine, it will take you there too.
Okay, the number 2. Let me take a break here. We'll continue our conversation in just a moment on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal, and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're in studio with the executive director of the Way Back In, our sponsor with Are You Really Winning? It's March Gambling Awareness Month. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shay Marslick. Into tonight, the chance of rain and snow showers will continue before midnight under cloudy skies with a low around 28 degrees, north winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, we'll see lots of sunshine with a high near 46 degrees. West winds pick up at 5 to 15 and gusts as high as 25 miles per hour into the afternoon. Saturday night looks mostly clear at the low around 31 degrees. West winds at 5 to 15 and gusting as high as 25 miles per hour through the overnight. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 36 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Hi, I'm Diana. As a veteran, I know that for many servicemen and women, the battle doesn't always end when they come home. Because I too struggle with the invisible wounds of service. Thankfully, I found American Humane's Pups for Patriots program, which brought Sam into my life. Before being paired with Sam, I didn't get out of bed for most days. Pups for Patriots and Sam literally changed my life. Now I'm able to go to the store without having a panic attack. I'm finally able to live my life the way I want to live it. Pups for Patriots provides trained service dogs to veterans like me at no cost. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots service dog program. Let's give our veterans a fighting chance.
A message from American Humane. In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lyons Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine, and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal in our Chicago studios. And, of course, we're broadcasting in the evenings on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Joining me in studio is the executive director of The Way Back In, and it is March. March is Gambling Awareness Month, and we're proud to partner with them as sponsors of the Driving It Home show with Patti Vasquez for Are You Really Winning? And one of the things that we talked about before the break was also the financial counseling,
Yes.
Because some folks do get not just in and over their heads. I mean, this is a generational thing because I didn't know until this week that my dad's gambling habit, he had to claim bankruptcy, took out credit cards in my name and my mom's name. When she went to go buy a house, she had to pay about 13% in interest rates for the house when they were about 7.
Right.
And it has an impact.
It does.
So what kind of advice would you give to folks when they're coming to Are You Really Winning to talk about, no one likes talking about money,
no.
And especially when there's shame attached to it, right?
Yeah, it's very difficult, right? So we separated into kind of two parts, into sort of counseling, just your psychotherapy counseling, and then we do the financial. So we are very fortunate, again, in the state of Illinois, part of the whole entire spectrum of services that are available is once you get hooked up with an agency, and it's and we have about 30 agencies throughout the state of Illinois.
Oh, wow.
Who are able to provide gambling use disorder services. The Illinois Council on Problem Gambling will then, once somebody is involved in treatment, will provide financial services and financial counseling currently through GAMFIN, which is an organization that specializes, they're both clinicians and financial experts who can really sit down with a person, or usually it's virtual, but they spend 4 to 5 sessions going through the financials, looking at what's going on, seeing how it can be best resolved, and what changes does this person need to make, and what accommodations are they available for them. So it is, sometimes it is with the whole entire family, and sometimes it is with a person who's affected by gambling use disorder, just to kind of go through it and say, because that's the hardest part, is when you're ready to stop and you stop looking at all the financials. And it is very, it can be very messy, it can be very depressing, it can be very overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you're like, there's nothing, right? I can't do anything. And so it's that slow, let's step back, let's take a look, let's see where step one is.
I can't necessarily articulate this the way I would like to, but I guess the best way to put it is it has to come to a point, folks, if you're in the situation, that it's not about what you've done, right? That you have to, when you absorb the fact that it's time to get help, that it's about what you're going to do for yourself, for your family, for your future.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell you that, my father was able to live the rest of his life in a loving family. I adored and for folks who have a family member like this, no judgment of the resentment, the anger. But if you can take a step back and go, oh, my loved one is struggling here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that person who's struggling doesn't even know they have a problem.
Sometimes not. Sometimes it is very awakening for many people. There's many things in life where we discover and you're like, oh,
right.
Maybe, right?
Sure.
Like, never even thought about it. So sometimes it is. It's societal. It's communal. We're all doing it. We're all kind of involved. You don't even think you have a problem, and then somebody might say something, and you're like, maybe, right? Like, what is the difference between me and maybe other people who can? And how does it affect me? There's many things. It's like food allergies, right? Like most kids will be able to eat peanut butter, and then you have 1 or 2 kids in class who can't. They're not bad kids. They're not evil people. It's not that they don't pray enough. It's that they have an imbalance in their bodies and they can't eat peanut butter, right? So we work with them and kind of see what's going on. But somebody has to point it out sometimes to them, right? And say, like, I don't think you're responding very well to this peanut butter. And that's what we want to kind of do with people too, right? Sometimes it's like, maybe there is something going on. Or I don't feel the joy that other people seem to feel.
Right?
And that happens very frequently, right? Like, this seems to really be something for everyone. I don't feel it. It's causing me stress. It's causing me anxiety. I'm irritated. I can't focus on anything else. Those are really good signs and symptoms to step back and be like, maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah. And again, folks, no judgment on all fronts. And here's the truth of it. Everyone deserves to be loved and to feel safe. And that's really what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, very much, right? Yeah. And sometimes that financial stressors are really big stressors, and those lead to other problems. Then we overdrink, then we might even want to gamble some more because it's like, well, once I'm this deep.
Yeah.
And that's usually kind of that fallacy with gambling, right? That I'm due to win at some point. It has to, luck has to turn. And it really, that's not how statistics work. That's not how probability
The house
works.
always wins, folks. Sorry.
Well, it is a business, and it is designed as a form of entertainment. And it is all they're promising you is entertainment.
Yeah. Now, you have an art competition that's open to the residents of Illinois, yes?
Yes, we're very excited. So in the 3rd year now, it is open up to 14 and up. So we have a category 14 and up and then 21 and up. We are opening this up to every resident of Illinois, and we really encourage everybody to sort of express themselves in whatever art means to you.
Okay.
I believe some of our submissions have already been, some of it is just your traditional
painting, sculpting,
right, sculptures. But we have some knitted work. We have some spoken word. We have some videos. So really kind of that expression of what does either gambling use disorder or gambling use disorder recovery mean to you.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. I love that idea. That's a great idea.
And we have some wonderful judges who are really kind of experts both in art and in the field of gambling use disorders. So we really can draw some. There will be some awards and some prizes. We will award those at our conference for the Illinois Council on Problem Gambling Conference, June 5th and 6th. But also last year we had a lot of teens who submitted, and I will say, not saying any, art is very subjective, but the teens had some brilliant ideas and some really really well thought out and designed artwork that you could really look back and be like, that is really deep.
Well, if you ever need someone to come talk to kids of gamblers, I would volunteer to talk about that.
Well, thank you.
I absolutely. I don't think that no one, people just, because there's like you said, it's entertainment, and so some people don't know when to stop. Well, I mean, it can have, again, generational effects.
We definitely do see that, and I thank you for sharing, because it is really brave of you to be able to share your family story. Some people are not really ready to do that.
And they don't have to.
And they don't,
that's not,
right?
no, nobody has to. Yeah.
That's why everything is confidential. When you call, everything is secure and confidential, and you can do it at your own kind of time. But we do want to kind of point out, too, that for every person affected by gambling use disorders, they do affect, another 5 or 6 people within their circle.
Yeah.
It is their spouses, it is their children.
Their
it
grandchildren,
is employers, their friends.
My mom's listening right now going, Jess. It was hard, and she had to work very hard. She had to, to support that, and for a long time, not knowing that was where money was going. That's hard to sort of look back at that. And money is so stressful anyway, right?
Money is very stressful, and often we see that it is when people do find out and people do figure out what's going on. It's such a struggle within a relationship because it feels like such a betrayal.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And again, no judgment on how you approach this. No. We're asking at the baseline for me is to be mindful, to think about it. If it's, this conversation, or think of your loved ones when you pick up the phone, because it's so accessible now.
It is. It is very accessible. It is available to you everywhere at all times. In different forms, in different kind of venues, and sometimes certain things that you wouldn't even really think of as gambling. We have seen persons who come in and Candy Crush is their game of choice.
Yeah.
So it really is, how is this affecting me, and how is it affecting my life? And so let's take a moment of no judgment, no labels, just is this really making me happy?
So it's areyoureallywinning.com.
Yes.
And you can also call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to 833-234 if that's the way you'd rather communicate.
Yes.
Excellent.
We have chat, text, and call the old school way.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I wish you a wonderful weekend, and we're going to talk again soon. Very soon, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
And let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I'm here for you.
Thank you. We
Absolutely.
really appreciate that. And
It's the least I can do, because I know that I didn't know that there were even really resources. And but again, it was before you started. Yeah. Before we had even that much of it. Google was just starting.
Right.
We saw those big, massive, flip down, big gray phones that look like a brick.
It was definitely a different time.
Yeah.
But we really want to make sure that everybody now is aware, and we have the resources now. So let's use them.
Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
That's areyoureallywinning.com. And the organization, do you want folks to know about waybackin.org as well?
Sure.
Excellent. So that's waybackin.org, 1-800-GAMBLER, or text GAMB to 833-234. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
I'll see you soon.
Take care.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend. Thank you. Let's take a break here. When we come back, I know we've got a couple phone calls and texts to get to. 773-763-9278. That's the number to call or text here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Stephanie Miller.
It's another true Stephanie Miller Show story, Chris LeBoy. Yeah, from Jane in St. Charles, Illinois. It's real. Stephanie Miller fans are everywhere. We're meeting in parking lots. It happened just yesterday. I got to my car after leaving the grocery store. There was a woman loading her groceries in the car. She had a radio on to WCPT 820 Progressive Radio. I couldn't resist. I said, I think we would qualify to say that we listen to the Stephanie Miller Show. We both laughed and said, yes, we would. I love it.
Stephanie Miller, weekday mornings 8 to 11 on WCPT 820.
It's asked their parents a lot of questions.
Why can't people fly?
Gravity.
Is the moon really made of cheese?
Yep, cream cheese.
When can I move into a big kid's car seat?
For some questions, parents may not have the answer, but that's okay. They can't know everything, but knowing the right seat for their age and size will help protect them in a car crash. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Where do babies come from?
Good luck, Dad. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Okay, antibodies, huddle up. We're a great team, but the flu is dominating. The good news is the human we're protecting just got his flu shot. That means all of us antibodies have strong new gear that will help us fight and defend against the flu. We must win so that our human can stay healthy and help protect the people he cares about most.
Let's work as a team to defend against the flu. Gear up with a flu shot to help protect yourself and others and reduce your risk of being sick or hospitalized with the flu. Learn more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Armanetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
All right, folks, we are heading into the home stretch here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and in the evenings on KTNF AM 950. I know we have been having a kind of an extended conversation with our new sponsors from Are You Really Winning? So if you know somebody, again, it's 1-800-GAMBLER. And I'm ready for the weekend. We got Whiskey and a Cookie coming up, I believe, in 10 minutes. I don't know if it's going to go. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to go see my son do some improv tonight down in Hyde Park. So I'm excited to see Griffin. He called me yesterday to invite me, so that was very sweet. Anyway, I hope that everyone's ready for a good weekend. And Rachel's calling from Park Ridge. Hi, Rachel. How are you doing tonight? What's on your mind? I shouldn't ask that.
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking my call. I love your show. I listen all the time. I really like Fridays. But anyway, I appreciate the conversation you were just having about gambling. I like her approach. It wasn't like accusingly or anything like that. It was inviting. It was giving an alternative, a different way to think about things. And when I called, I wanted to just alert people. I think the family budget, our money is all on our minds. And I think we got to be better consumers. Yes. And, there's a lot we could be, a gambler could be doing with that money. In the end, I think that, wins and losses, we're not these gambling companies and gaming machines are not intended to give away everything. They're gonna reel you in at some point. Yep. But and it's shameful that all these pop-up gambling spots are everywhere, and they stay open until 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. It's ridiculous. They're everywhere. But anyway, I was thinking about shopping and how, when you go in the store, don't just look at the prices. Look at the ounces. Look at the sizes. Yep. I noticed the other day they're reducing, making things smaller and smaller. And so you may not see the price change, but the size change. 64 orange juice used to be 64 ounces. Now it's 52. And it'll probably go down even further. So we got to just be smarter consumers. I'm checking my 401k, rearranging things. I'm trying to address a lot of things from different angles and trying to get my finances in better shape, better and better to weather whatever's coming, So I just think as a family, we gotta pull together. We gotta look at how we're spending our money and analyze things beyond the surface. Don't just look at the price, And we gotta just be better consumers, I think.
I will also offer a suggestion. There's a website and an app called Goods Unite Us. That's Goods Unite Us, and you can find out there which companies, which brands support Democrats and which support Republicans. Anything from hardware stores to cola companies. Walgreens is a good one, and I think it's Apothic Wines. I was very excited to find that out. So to your point, it's also putting our money where our with companies that have
our interests and our values are.
That's
exactly.
right.
I noticed. I saw next door people were commenting how Costco was filled today, and yet Target is empty. That's the balance I want.
Right.
People that stand with us and don't, impose Trump's values on their shoppers.
Yeah.
Let us shop. Let us, you do you. Don't do Trump.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And I also agree that we have to be mindful about our budgets because we don't know what's ahead of us. Whether it's federal funding for programs we rely on, whether the prices of things are going to go up, from anything from grocery goods to property values.
Cars, everything.
Yep.
So
be mindful.
So you got to delay something. Just think about it. Talk about it with your family, and make a smart decision.
Yep.
That's it.
I agree. Oh, great phone call. I appreciate that. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Happy weekend, my friend. Stay hydrated. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, she's got a good point. I can be I'm not great. My mom is great with like her finances and being, diligent about, what she owes, how she pays for things. I'm trying to be still better about it. I mean, it's hard when you have families like ours. I don't know how to explain this to folks. There's so much chaos in our lives when you are raising a child with needs that are different from other kids. I mean, it's hard to think ahead. I mean, the planning part, I'm not great at that. I've got to and there are, we'll try to get some guests on to talk about that, whether it's for families like ours, Lady B, or for anybody who knows that perhaps the traditional path of adulthood is going to be different. For example, Declan will need care for the rest of his life, and college is not in the cards, working is not in the cards, and so we need to make sure we're doing everything we can. And that's someone texted in earlier about what the future looks like. That's going to take a long time to right the ship, unravel so much of what Donald Trump has done. I don't know why. I'm not going to put a lot of stock into that video I saw of Amy Coney Barrett. I've made a lot of fun of her. She's a very strict Christian, but if she is, and I found a piece today because I was Googling this backlash that she's getting, that she was a DEI hire, that she's not aligned with Trump, that hopefully he'll have another Supreme Court pick and it'll be somebody better than her. And that's all coming. Like, they all loved her. They all loved that it was a woman, that she was, against abortion, that she was going to, that she would hold the line, that she voted in, with the conservative judges when they decided the president was immune from whatever the constitutional originalism, the most of the court, Alito, Thomas, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, that she was aligned with them. And there have been times where Justice Roberts has ruled in favor of things like the Affordable Care Act. I think that there was some area of the student loan forgiveness that was still being sort of deliberated. I'm not going to put a lot of stock in it, but there was this piece when she was nominated for the Supreme Court, when she was named as the appointee. Actually, I didn't realize there were articles out there, people who were concerned that she was Christian, that it might be stronger than her originalist view of the Constitution, that she might come from the point of a Christian, there are folks on the far right, and there's nasty messages that come into my Facebook, on my Facebook page. By the way, folks, we are so close to 9,000. We are close to 9,000 followers on Facebook. Go to the Patti Vasquez show page, and I would love for you to follow us there and help boost our numbers and expand our reach, because what I'm learning is there are so many people that are grateful for not just the conversations I'm having, Richard Chu, Jonas Bezito, Hal Sparks, Stephanie Miller. We've got Matt McNeil in the evenings, Randy Rhodes, Tom Hartman. Folks don't know that we're here necessarily. And I encourage you to like the page, join the conversation. It looks as though I'm going to probably jump on and say hi on Whiskey and a Cookie, and then I'm going to drive down to see Griffin in Hyde Park because I think the rest of my team is not available for Whiskey and a Cookie tonight. So I'll just do a quick hello and tell you I'm on my way to Hyde Park. So, but at any rate, please like the page. So this guy slid into my DMs, hold on. Here's how it goes down in my DMs. Like I'm aggressively cheerful and unnecessarily friendly with people, even when they wish horrible things. Although this one, it's funny how many white dudes slide in my DM and will, say things like, they'll call me names, but they'll try to say things about they'll try to throw in some Spanish, like they'll call me names. This one says, cry harder, cucaracha. Right? So I said, go in grace, neighbor. And he's like, I'm not your neighbor, thank goodness. Well, but isn't MAGA all devoted to Christianity? And aren't we all love thy neighbor? But they're taking it seriously. And I'm not saying I live next door to you, you doofus. Neighbor is humanity. Neighbor, I call people how they call in. We're friends because here's the thing. There are people who will oh, we're late. Okay, Randy Rhodes is up next. Alabama Matt McNeil, I love you, Lady B. Everyone thank you to our sponsors, Source Solar, go to source.solar. Thank you to Are You Really Winning? Go to areyoureallywinning.com, MonacoBrewingCompany.com. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.
St. Patrick's Day begins March 10th at Max and Benny's Restaurant in Northbrook. Don't wait until March 17th to get your North Shore's best corned beef and cabbage. Stop in beginning March 10th for lunch or dinner. Dine in or carry out. Meals come with red potatoes and carrots. Max and Benny's has